Aita for telling my professor that a classmate stopped being in my lab group because I'm Jewish. This happened before COVID, but I recently got an email from my professor asking for detailed description of what exactly happened. Anyways, a classmate, 20s male, and I, 22F, happened to sit next to each other in physics, and my professor did the get to know who you sit by shindig, and we got to talking and exchanged numbers. We also chose to be in the same lab group as well. We got pretty close during the semester and would study and go to our professor's office hours together as well. We go to talking about religion with our lab group, and when I started talking about being Jewish, he was quiet and didn't say much the rest of the lab. At the end of class, as I usually walk with him to the library, he was pretty quiet again and said he wasn't going to library and just going home. After asking what was up, he just straight up told me, "I don't think we should hang out that much anymore." When I asked why, he just said, "You're a Jew," and when I pressed further, he just said he doesn't hang out with Jews. I was stunned and just walked away. The next week he was in a different lab group. When I went to office hours during that week, my professor asked where he was and why he switched lab groups. This is where I think I was the asshole. I could have said I have no idea, but instead I told my professor that he probably switched groups because I'm Jewish. My professor didn't understand, and I explained that he told me the week prior that he doesn't hang out with Jews and he doesn't think that me and him should hang out anymore because I am Jewish. My professor told me that was disgusting behavior and he apologized on the behalf of that classmate. I didn't think anything of it until the next week. I got a text from the classmate saying that he can't believe I told on him and he's in trouble. I didn't respond and blocked his number. I don't know what happened to him, but he didn't come to class much after then, soon not at all. He did end up telling one of my other lab partners that I was the reason for him to switch lab groups and that I was to blame on why he wasn't going to class. I ended up getting an email from someone on the board of the school asking for what happened, but I didn't reply. And my professor told me I didn't have to worry about him anymore. Aita for telling on a classmate to my professor. NTA, but you really should respond to the board member. NTA, if your lab mate didn't want you to tell people that he acted like a bigot, he shouldn't have acted like a bigot. NTA, please respond to the board member's email and tell them what happened. Your classmate is anti-Semitic. Edit, to correct the spelling of anti-Semitic. NTA, how did he expect this to play out? If he knew being blatantly anti-Semitic would get him in trouble, wouldn't it have made more sense to, I don't know, not be blatantly anti-Semitic? You don't have to turn a blind eye to bigotry. Tell the board member and let them finish handling this. At the very least, quit feeling guilty about having a problem with not being treated with basic respect. Probably thought I wouldn't say anything. Being honest, I don't know if I would have if my professor didn't ask why he wasn't with me. Got their answer, and there's too much racism in this thread. Locked. Aita for telling my girlfriend her nannies were paid to raise her. Throwaway account because I don't want this linked to my Reddit account. I, 21 meters, have a girlfriend named Anna, 21F, who comes from a very rich family while I came from a middle-class family, and while I did grow up with a lot of privileges, none of them were in the same level as hers. Anna grew up in a home where house staff, nannies and bodyguards were commonplace, and while she's a very nice and down-to-earth person, she always had a very sheltered reality. For example, she's the kind of person who has a savings account, doesn't eat out every day, and regularly donates to charity, but thinks that Apple products are perfect gifts for whenever she doesn't know what to get someone. A few days back we were talking about holidays and I asked her how she spent Mother's Day, since her mother died when she was a baby and her father never remarried. She just said that the only unusual thing she did on Mother's Day was that she visited her mom's grave in the morning with her father. I got confused by that. Then I asked her how she spent the rest of the day, and she mentioned that growing up she would make cards and give them to the nannies, and they would spend the day playing and eating the sweets she asked her father to order. I just kinda laughed at that point, and she asked me what I was laughing about. Then I told her, you know, the nannies were just doing their jobs, right? She got annoyed and told me that she knew, but they raised and loved, and the least she could do was to give them their due. And that where I think I might be the asshole. After she told me that, I joked, yeah, I bet the fat paycheck certainly helped them to love you. Because when I said that, she got quiet, grabbed her things and left. Since then she's been cold towards me and told me she's rethinking our relationship, but I really think she's overreacting. What do you guys think? Am I the asshole? Edit. So, after I posted my post and saw how it blew up with everyone ripping me into a new one, I was still skeptical, but then after I read some comments doing a breakdown of my post and pointing out how bad was the shit I said, I started to think that maybe I was in the wrong. Then I started receiving messages from many actual incels saying that they agree with me. After those messages I saw that yeah, I'm an asshole. I went and apologized to my girlfriend, told her I was being an ignorant, spiteful, malicious dumbass, quoted some of you guys lol, and that I want her to know that what I said was bullshit, and that even if she never forgave, she should know that I was just being a jerk for the heck of it and she did nothing wrong. She told me she knew that I was speaking out of my ass and forgave for what I said, but decided to dump me anyway. If things go well we'll still be friends, if not at the least we're parting ways amicably. You'll be fine, said she'll go and spend time with her father back at home for a while. I decided to stay single until I sorted out my own issues, and that's it. Believe it or not, but I read every single reply and saw how wrong I was about nannies and by default all care workers. I won't justify what I said because I think it would be a cheap attempt to erase that I was a grade A cunt, but I will apologize anyway. Sorry for being an ignorant, dismissive, dehumanizing, classistic jerk who dismissed the emotional aspect of these type of jobs. No one has to forgive, but I want to apologize anyway. Well, thank you all for input and insults, I very much needed them. A huge R. She lost her mother when she was a baby and was raised by nannies from this young age. I imagine she's very attached to them, much like family, and I would guess they love her too. I honestly can't understand why this would bother you to the point where you felt the need to tear her down. It's probably because you're generally a judgmental R. Who cares if she gifts Apple products? Apparently, you do. Are you jealous? Your comments were cruel. You owe her an enormous apology, and would be lucky if she decided to accept it. Who cares if she gifts Apple products? Apparently, you do. Are you jealous? That line struck me as weird too. Her logic for getting Apple products as gifts for people that she doesn't know what to get for makes sense, and while it's certainly evidence of her privilege, it's not evidence of her being sheltered or naive. It just shows she's generous. I personally also get products related to smartphones as gifts for people when I don't know what to get them. The only difference being that I gift accessories like chargers, headphones and cases, rather than actual smartphones. There was zero reason to say that. It feels like you want her to feel bad just because she had privileges you didn't. I asked her how she spent Mother's Day, since her mother died when she was a baby and her father never remarried. Why would you ask somebody whose mother died when they were a baby how they spend Mother's Day? This can't be real. Nobody could be that much of an insensitive asshole. Not only that, but she said she spent it at her mom's grave, and then he pressed her for more, when she didn't elaborate further. Seems like Op was almost pushing for the conversation to go this way, so he could look down upon her for being privileged. Op, I bet you've never considered that having two alive parents is also a privilege, and one your girlfriend didn't have. Financial stability is not the only thing that affects someone's childhood. Oh, and Aita, big time. Edit, thank you for the gold! Exclamation mark. Aita, how heartless can you be? Here's how it sounds. Haha, you're so stupid you think they'd love you. You motherless child, only thing to love about you is your money. As someone who has worked in the childcare sector including being a nanny, unless you're pretty cold you can't help but love and care about the kids we take care of. You need to love what you do to be good at it. Really glad she's rethinking her relationship with you. You seem mean. Edit. Ah, incels, the great unifier of men who don't want to be that gapping of an R. Aita for causing a family argument over a slutty dress. I'm 19, F. I've never really been into fashion and have always dressed sort of tomboyishly. I was telling a friend about how I've never really worn a dress past the age of 7 and how I was looking for something fancy to wear because I don't have those sort of clothes at all, always end up borrowing someone else's when I have to. After a lot of looking online, I finally found a dress I really liked. It's a basic satin slip dress with a mid-thigh slit. Not the kind of dress that would be unusual for someone my age to wear to a party. I've seen a lot of people wearing something similar. I asked my mom which color would look best on me as I really didn't know, and she's someone that's quite into fashion. She took one look at it and called it slutty and asked me why I wanted to look like a slut so badly. Later on, she told my dad about the slutty dress and he sided with her. He said the description of the dress made him queasy and that although he wouldn't have used the words my mom did, he didn't think it was wrong of her to use them. He also said it was not like me to wear such clothing, which isn't false, but then I'm also 19 and need clothes other than sweatpants and oversized t-shirts. I'm not proud of it, but I lost my anger at them, which is why I believe I also may be in the wrong here, and said it wasn't fair to make me feel ashamed for going out of my comfort zone and trying something new. I feel weird and awkward doing feminine things, makeup/dye my hair/paint my nails, because I've always been told that's a bimbo/slutty thing to do. I even agreed to stitch the slit up because it bothered my mom so much. She told me she was merely stating her opinion, but it was an opinion that was meant to shame for something I was going to wear. If it matters, I am living in their house, but I paid for the dress with my own money. Too long didn't read. Bought a dress that's too slutty for my parents. They shamed me for it and that caused a family argument where I lost my cool at them. Edit: I ordered it in burgundy. Removed the link because I'm being accused of being a social media manager, but if you Google burgundy satin slip dress you should get a fair idea of what it looks like. I'm not proud of it, but I lost my anger at them, which is why I believe I also may be in the wrong here, and said it wasn't fair to make me feel ashamed for going out of my comfort zone and trying something new. I'm sorry you're not proud of yourself. If it helps, I'm very proud of you. NTA. NTA. I'd what your parents are generally like, but I hope that this is us catching them at their worst. Your mom was being a giant R for trying to slut shame you at all, let alone because you bought a dress. That's a terrible way to encourage your kids to grow and experience life. Also, a big WTF at your dad for being queasy about the description of the dress. If he's that physically averse to women's bodies, then it's a wonder that you were born in the first place. It totally reminds me of this one guy describing his daughter's period as an infection. Mo, you were right to have a strong reaction to their comments. They were way out of line and being downright hurtful for no reason. Look, words like thigh are just way too sexual and we really shouldn't be exposing men to that kind of thing/s. NTA, your parents are shitty. You should try out whatever you want to. If you decide that's not your style, great. If it is, great. Don't let your parents' shitty attitudes and misogynistic ideas of how you should dress dissuade you from exploring your own personal style. Edit: to add, just because you are living under their roof doesn't mean they should control you. That's the fastest way to get any kid out of their parents' house and going no contact. Wow, just went straight for slut when your daughter tries to include you in a decision she's new to. Nice one, mom. NTA. This is the kind of parent who goes, why don't my kids talk to me? When their kids finally move out of the house. NTA, your parents sound like real jerks. I hope you get that dress and wear it like a queen. Edit: saw the edit. Great color choice. Are there any events you are planning to wear the dress at? Edit 2, I got curious so I decided to look up satin slip dresses and what. This is pretty heckin' tame. When you described the dress I thought it might have been pretty low cut or maybe the dress was super short. But this is something I've seen churchgoers wear. Your parents are being ridiculous. I'm sorry you are stuck with these people. Your dad saying a description of a perfectly normal dress made him queasy makes me mad. I say you start planning on moving out. These are not the kinds of people you want to live with. If my parents did this I would feel horrible and angry. You shouldn't have to live with this. Edit 3, this is probably annoying but it. Thank you so much you/Castro12 for the gold. As much as I appreciate it, however, I'd prefer you spend the money on a local charity instead. Thanks again.